Thank you very much, and I want to start by thanking everybody in this room for what you do for the state of Nebraska and the United States of America. This is really very inspiring and very motivating today to listen to all of you. And it's great for me because I've been focused on this for some period of time, and now I've got better examples to give and to share with citizens all across this state. And so I really want to say thank you to a number of people first. I'm so inspired by what Jim Clifton is doing and what he wrote in his book. I asked him if he would come to the National Governors Association meeting in February that I chair, and he's going to be our featured speaker. Jim Krieger, Todd Johnson, all of you, the Greater Omaha Chamber, University of Nebraska, we're in our own Department of Economic Development. We're very, very grateful for what you're doing. I learned a long time ago from my dad, he worked for J.C. Penney's all his life, that you need to listen to your customers, and the customers are always right. And when I first took over as governor, I've never forgotten what I heard in the first 48 hours. You know, because Nebraskans are not bashful about sharing their opinions with their governor, and I look at it as I have a 1.8 million person board of directors. That's a big board of directors, let me tell you. And they said, Dave, taxes are too high in this state, which stifles job growth, and we have too many of our sons and daughters and our grandkids leaving this state, and we want you to do something about it. And that's what we've been focused on the last 7 years. And for me, it really comes down to education and jobs. We want to give our young people the very best education we can give them, and then create jobs to keep them right here in Nebraska. Now, I want to start by mentioning, because I heard Blake say this, I was taking good notes. I was revising my speech as I went along today. He was talking about customers, whatever. So for Blake and Neil and all of you who look like the two of them, they were overly dressed here today. And in a decade, you'll be able to look like Dan. Be able to wear a great suit, white shirt, and a new haircut. Now, you may not want that, but the other thing I want to tell Blake, because I want to be able to use him as an example in what the future is, I don't want you talking to Coach Pelini about being the new defensive coordinator for the Huskers, okay? If you think about it, Jim Clifton mentions it in his book, and it's what we're engaged in our state and really at the National Governors Association. Small businesses are the economic engine of our state and the economic engine of America. And the faster you grow, the more successful you are, let me tell you, our state's going to continue to improve and continue to go forward. And I just want to share with you a little bit in that regard, because it takes a determined, committed focus to get this done. Nebraska is poised for exceptional growth because of all of you and the stories that I've heard this morning. And let me share with you what I mean and the progress that we've made by focusing on where the future is, and that is with small businesses and entrepreneurs. Jim and a couple others have mentioned, we've made great strides with our economic environment, the climate, and how we get rated all across America now. In almost every ranking, we're described as a top 10 business-friendly state. That wasn't the case 5 or 6 years ago. We modernized our economic incentive programs. Many of you are using them, particularly the Nebraska Advantage. We lowered taxes with the largest tax relief package in the history of the state. We listened to what Gallup told us. We've controlled our spending. And you put all those together and look at where we're at today, and I want to share a couple things with you because it's occurring all across the state. We have the second lowest unemployment rate in America at 4.2%. And I want to emphasize for a moment, it's not just the second lowest, 4.2%. Our neighbors to the east and west, Iowa and Wyoming, are doing very well, but their unemployment rate at about 6% is 40% higher than we are. If you look at some other Midwestern states that are around 8.5%, again, they're better than the national average, but they're 100% higher than we are. And you don't fully appreciate this until you walk outside the state and go to a couple of other states where the unemployment rate is 9, 10, 11, 12%. And if you talk to our fellow Americans in those states, those who have a job are worried they won't have it tomorrow, and those who don't have a job today think they're never going to get one. And that's not what we're experiencing here in Nebraska because of all of you and the focus that you have on your particular business. So I'm very, very proud of you and what you're accomplishing. Jim had mentioned the Talent and Innovation Initiative. I want to share one component with you. We worked with a number of businesses, chambers, economic developers in this state. And last year, even in difficult economic times, we did two things. We put $25 million into Innovation Campus at the University of Nebraska and what that can mean for our future. And secondly, we passed the Talent and Innovation Initiative. And one part of that is the Nebraska Internship Program, where we directed $1.5 million out of our job training cash fund to this program. And basically, for every new internship, any business in this state will start with a person who's a junior or senior at a 4-year institution or a sophomore at a 2-year institution. We'll match it dollar for dollar. $1.5 million. The first 100 days, this program started in July. The first 100 days, we've already committed over $1 million. This is the opportunity in every community in Nebraska to show young people you can not only live in Omaha or Lincoln or Kearney or Grand Island, but you can go to Valentine, Chadron, McCook, Wahoo, Holdridge, wherever you want, because we have those opportunities today. So I want to encourage you to take advantage of those. Second thing I want to share with you in that regard, another statistic. For the first time in the history of our state, and we're a small population state, about 38th or 39th in population compared to the rest of the country. For the last 2 years, our population growth has exceeded the national average. More young people are staying here than ever before, and families are moving to Nebraska because we have jobs. And that goes back to what I heard from all of our customers when I first took over as governor. Too many people were leaving the state. Think if we could do that for a decade and what it would mean for our state. Just put it one thought in your mind. So often in Nebraska, we're worried that we're going to go from 3 Congress individuals to 2. If we can experience a decade of growth where we're growing faster than the national average, we'll go from 3 to 4. Then Blake or Neil or one of the other entrepreneurs made so much money they can run for Congress and really have a lot of fun. That's the opportunity we have in Nebraska. Just a few weeks ago, the chamber brought someone in, a demographer, Joel Klotkin, as I recall is his name, and he talked about the opportunity for states like Nebraska and what's going on in America today. And this goes with a recent rating that we received. Arlington, Nebraska was recognized as second best place in all of America to live and to raise a family and to work. Now you can just take Arlington out of there and substitute about any community in Nebraska, including any neighborhood, I would argue, in Omaha or Lincoln. And it goes back to what Joel said in his speech. Americans are looking to live in small communities, to have a good job, a safe community, good schools, and affordable homes. That's the state of Nebraska. And that's why I say we're poised for exceptional growth. This is where people want to live. Whether they come from Kansas City or Chicago or wherever, once we get them here, they're going to become a Husker, not a Buckeye, not any of those others, because of you. And you can't put a dollar value on the last thing I want to talk about, and that's the value and belief system that we have here in this state, where we care about each other, we love each other, we support each other. And I just want to give you 2 things to put that in perspective that I see all the time. If you've grown up in a small community in Nebraska and you did something wrong during the day when you were a young kid, now I never did this because I knew I was going to be governor someday. But if you did something wrong during the day, before you got home at night, your parents already knew about it. And as young kids, we didn't fully appreciate that. As parents, as community leaders, as business leaders, those are the kinds of individuals who are working for you. They want to be part of a great team. And that's what we have here in Nebraska. So you are our future. As part of the overall effort, my initiative this year with the National Governors Association is growing state economies. And we're hosting 4 economic development summits. 2 we've already had. One in Hartford, Connecticut, one in Nashville, Tennessee. In late January, we go to Seattle, Washington, and then I'm bringing everybody to Omaha, Nebraska in April because I saved the best for last. And I want to share with them what we're doing. And I've been to the other 2, and I've learned from them. But every time I go somewhere in America, I come back renewed because I know we're headed on the right track. And it's programs like we have here today with what Gallup's doing for us, what the Chamber and the university and everybody involved in this program is doing for all of you. So again, I want to congratulate you. I can't tell you how proud I am of you. And this is the story that I can share all across the state. Dream big. Dare to dream. We have a lot of young people who want to do what all of you mentioned who are here on the stage today, how successful you already are. We have a lot of experienced CEOs and business leaders in this state who are willing to help you. That's one of the things I'm most impressed about by our state. There isn't a single business leader that I can think of, whether you're Walter Scott or someone else, if you called them up, they're willing to give you their advice, their input, and share with you their experience. And that's what we've seen here today. So again, I'm really proud of you. Thank you for what you're doing. Keep it up. I want to drive the unemployment rate under 4%. Thank you very much.